Hello and welcome to OMG Crocheting Crafts. Today we are going to be making the Toxic Waste Cardigan. This is a beginner pattern. I will take you step by step through everything that you need to do. And these are everything that you're going to need for the cardigan. So I am using Knitco Aran yarn. You can use any yarn, any thickness. So you'll just need to make sure you have enough yarn for a cardigan for you. For me, that's going to be two skeins of the 200-gram Knitco Arans in black. That is 840 yards altogether, 840 meters altogether, in 918 yards. You will need a contrasting color. I have chosen this Day Glow Yellow, hence the name Toxic Waste Cardigan. You will also need the hooks that go with this. So I've got a 5.5, that's going to be my main hook, which is slightly larger than the yarn requires, but it's fine. And then a 5mm, which is exactly what the yarn requires. We also need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, and a tape measure. Those are everything that you will need for the cardigan. I'm going to get stuck right in. So to start, we're going to be taking our main colour and the 5.5mm hook. Now, this cardigan is a made-to-measure cardigan. Like all of my designs, it's going to be based on your shoulder-to-shoulder measurements. So, yeah, if you measure from your shoulder tip across the front of your body, across your neck to your shoulder tip, that will give you the measurement that you need. Now, the measurement that I need is 42 centimeters. Okay, that is the measurement that I need, 42 centimeters. Which is exactly across my board. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our crochet hook and our yarn. We're going to start with a slip knot. I'm going to pop that on the hook, and we are going to chain as many chains as it takes to get 42 centimeters. Now the trick to this is we want to do multiples of 2 plus 1. Okay, so however many chains it takes you to get to the measurement you need, make sure that it's a multiple of 2 and then just add 1 extra chain. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to get my chains done and I will be right back. Okay, so I have finished my chains. I have got 61 chains in total, so I had 60 chains to meet the measurement, and then I added 1 chain onto the end there, so I've got a multiple of 2 plus 1. Okay, so we are going to start off by doing a double crochet into the 5th chain from your hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into this 5th chain. I'm going to do a double crochet. So you wrap your hook into the chain, grab a loop, pull it through. You're then going to pull through 2 and then pull through 2, like so. So that's your double crochet. You're then going to chain 1. You're going to skip a chain at the bottom here, and you do a double crochet into the next chain. So you're going to chain 1, skip a chain at the bottom, and do a double crochet into the next chain. Okay, we chain 1, skip a chain at the bottom, and do a double crochet into the next chain. And we're going to continue to work this pattern all the way across our starting chain. So we chain 1, we skip a chain, and we double crochet into the next chain. Okay, so I'm going to get that done. I'll be back at the end of the row. So we've turned our work. We're now going to chain 2. That counts as the double crochet from the previous round. We're then going to chain 1. That counts as the chain space there. So your row starts with a chain 3, and then you double crochet into the top of the double crochet from the previous row, like so. And then you chain 1, and you double crochet into the top of the next double crochet. And that is the pattern for the back piece. You chain 1 and you double crochet into the top of the double crochet from the previous row. And you're going to work that all the way across the row, and then your next row will start exactly the same. You chain 3 and double crochet into the top of double crochet. So that is the pattern for the back piece. You need to work this back piece as long as you want it. It needs to, for the cardigan, I would say it needs to cover from your shoulder at least until the bottom of your back, the top of your bum. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to get that piece done, and I will come back once we've got the back piece finished. Okay? Once you've finished crocheting your back piece, you're going to want to start with your front piece. And now your front pieces are made exactly the same way. So this is the start of a front piece for me. What I did with the original chain is I divided my back piece exactly in half. So I had 60 stitches to get to where I wanted before I added the extra 1 on. So I had 60 stitches. So I've divided that in half and got 30 stitches here. I then added that extra stitch on, so I have 31 chains. And then it works exactly the same way. You would double crochet into the 5th chain from the hook, and then skip 1 and double crochet all the way along. And then you work on this piece until it's the exact same length as your back piece, and you create 2 of them. And it's as simple as that. So I'm going to leave you to create 2 front pieces which are half the size of your back piece. I'm going to leave you to do that, and I will be back to join the shoulder pieces a little bit later. Okay, so we now have our back piece and our 2 front pieces. What we're going to do now is we're going to line these up on the top here, and we're going to take a tapestry needle and join each one of the fronts across the top here. You're going to join it halfway across each of the sides here. Okay, so with the tapestry needle and a bit of yarn, you're going to join straight over on either side, halfway across each of the front panels. Right, so I threaded my tapestry needle, and I am going to join these on the top corners here. Okay, we're going to start in the chain stitch at the very end. We're going to join in there. I'm joining in from the bottom up. We're then going to join from the top down on the other side in that same chain stitch, but then back out the double crochet. Okay, so we're going in 1 stitch and out the other. And then we're going to go back into our chain stitch, top down this side this time. So we're going to go back into that chain stitch, top down, and back out the double crochet, like so. Okay. And then back through the double crochet and out the next double crochet. And we're going to go back through the double crochet on this side and out the next double crochet. And we're going to keep doing this until we've worked halfway across our front panel. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Across 7 of these little squares, we are going to stitch across. So I'm going to get that done. I'll be right back. I have sewn across 7 of these little squares. This is our last one here. And I'm just going to join it back into that double crochet there, but I'm not pulling it through the other side yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this top piece so I can get to the seam where I've just sewn. And I'm going to thread my end away in that seam. And I'm going to do the same thing for the end on the other side. So we go in and then I just follow along the stitches and sew my end away, like so. Okay, so we get through all of those and pull that in. It's very important that you don't pull this so tight that it bunches up. It needs to lay flat. Okay, so we'll snip that off here and we'll do the same on the other side. And we're going to sew along the stitches. Sorry, my words were escaping me there. All the way along our seam. So we've got this end woven away like so. And then you can snip the end off. So that is how you sew your shoulder seam. Okay, it's very important, like I said, it's very important that this seam lays flat. Okay, we don't want it bunched up at the end. I'm going to do that now to the other shoulder seam. I'm going to join it on this side. I'll get that done and I'll come back for the next part of the tutorial. So now that we've got both of our shoulder seams sewn on, we're going to work on the hood. Okay, so with the right side facing you, well, not necessarily the right side facing you, but I start from this corner here. Okay, I go into the very first stitch that is there. It's got a knot in it, as you can see, and I join my yarn, and then I start the row as I normally would. So we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then double crochet into the next double crochet. Okay, and then chain 1 and then double crochet. And you're going to do that all the way across the front panel, across the back panel, and across the other front panel. And you need to do that for 18 rows. Okay, so we are going to be working this mesh stitch for 18 rows now to create the hood. And then once we've done that, we're going to start working on the icords for lacing up the hood and the sides of the cardigan. But first we need to get our hood done. So work in mesh stitch across both front panels and the back panel, or the front panel, the back panel, and then the other front panel. Okay, so you can see you've got the shoulder seam there. I've gone into the last double crochet of the front panel. I've chained 1 and I'm going into the first double crochet of the back panel. Okay, and then we just carry on as normal. Whoops. Like so. So I'm going to leave you to do that. I will come back once I've got my 18 rows of mesh stitch completed for the hood. So I will be back in a little bit. So we have worked the two front panels and the back panel as well as the hood. So we now need to start working with our bright contrasting colour to make the icords to lace up both the hood and each of the sides. So to do that, there is a separate video on my page on how to do an icord, but I am going to show you in this video as well. To do that, we're going to start with, I'd say don't cut your yarn, but measure out, I'd say 2 meters of yarn. Okay, and that is going to be your tail end. So that 2 meters that you've measured out, that is going to be your tail end. And we're going to put a slip knot right in the middle there. Okay, I've also, I'm using my 5mm hook for this part. So we're going to pop that slip knot on our hook and tighten it. Okay, the trick to this is we're keeping our tail end at the front of our work and our working end at the back of our work, okay? And we are going to go yarn under with the tail end and then yarn over with the working end, and we're going to pull that working end loop through the 2 loops on our hook. And then yarn under with the tail end, yarn over with the working end, and pull it through the 2 loops on your hook. So we're going to keep working like that until until your piece is long enough to create your lace. Now I'm going to keep working on this for the hooded piece, and I'll come back with measurements on that. However, I can't tell you how long to make the pieces for your side pieces. Even for your side pieces specifically, I would even suggest starting with maybe 3 meter tail, just because you use more of the yarn than you think you will. Okay, so I'm going to start this and make it for my hood, and I'll come back and give you the measurement for the one I've made. You obviously don't have to make it exactly the same measurement, but for the hood, you know, I will give you an idea of how long you need it. For the to lace up the 2 side pieces, you're obviously going to need a much longer piece. So I'm going to get this done for the hood, and I will come back once it is long enough to lace up the hood. Sorry to add just a quick side note. When you finish off your icords, make sure that they've got at least a 5-inch tail on both sections of yarn, because we're going to need those to attach them to the other side, because we close these off to make it look like one single piece. So make sure they've got at least a 5-inch tail on either side. Hi guys, so I am back after completing all my icords. Hold on. So I've got one for the hood, and I've got 2 for the sides of my cardigan. But we're going to put the longer ones to the side, and we're going to start with the one for the hood, and I'm going to show you how to lace up the hood now. So I am going to place the piece of work with the back panel laying flat on the table, the shoulder seams on the inside, and our hood folded straight up, and then we're going to fold the 2 points down in the middle like so. Okay, so bear with me. So your hood should look like that. Let me zoom out. Oh, I didn't turn my light on. Hold on. There we go. That's a bit better. So that is what your hood should look like. Now, mine's going to fall off the end of the table, so I'm just going to roll it up on the edge here so that it doesn't fall over, and get myself situated. Give me a second. Okay. So, taking our I-cord that is 75 centimeters long, so this is the smaller one of the 3 that you should have made. Okay. We're not going to thread it through the very first holes on the side. We're going to thread it through a couple of holes down. So I'm going to go through, thread it through on my 3rd hole down. And I'm going to thread it from underneath through to the top on both sides. And now I'm going to lace mine on every 3rd hole. You just make sure that both sides are even. So now, like I said, I'm going to lace mine on every 3rd hole. And you just carry on lacing all the way down, from bottom to top, all the way down. And then you'll see on my last section, yours might not be the same. Yeah, yours might not be the same. Mine's got 4 holes left at the top, so I'm just going to go into that very last hole again from bottom to top. And then you're going to need to get yourself a tapestry needle and thread on one of your two ends. And I'm not going to be using my big tapestry needle. I'm not going to be using that one. I think that one's going to be too big for this process. So I'm just going to use a smaller one like this. Here we go. And then just let me zoom in so we can get the detail in what I'm doing here. Okay. So taking my tapestry needle and both ends of our I-cord, we are going to match up the ends. Okay. So there we have it. We've joined the end, and now we're just going to thread it to the inside and then pull your lacing apart a little bit, like so. Let's give it a little bit more on the edges, like so. And there we have one hood threaded together. Okay, so we're going to move directly on to working the underarm section. I'm going to move myself here. So again, with your shoulder seam to the inside, we're going to work with the back panel and the shoulder seam. And what you're going to do here is you're going to take a measurement of your arm. I'll put this over your arm, shoulder seam in the middle. Take a measurement of your arm. See how big you need your sleeve, and pop a stitch marker in just so you know where to start your lacing from. Okay, I tend to make this a little bit looser But at the same time, when I put the sleeves on, I'll be adding a couple of stitches underneath the arm, so you can make it a tiny little bit tighter if you need to. Okay, but I've got, I think it's about that much of my underarm to lace up. Now, the lacing for the underarm is exactly the same as you would do for the hood. You take one of your long I-cords and you start lacing it from bottom to top, and you work it all the way down, and you can make the laces as tight or as loose as you want to. This is where you can give yourself an extra few inches around the middle if you need a little bit more space. I tend to make my cardigan pieces a little bit smaller so that I'm not making the cardigan itself too big by adding the lacing on. So I'm going to get my pieces laced up. You finish off the I-cords exactly the same way as you do on the hood. I'm going to get my pieces laced up and I will come back to you in a minute. Okie dokie. So you can't really see much from this, but I have laced up my sides like so. And I've done both sides and the I-cords have been joined, and then we've got the hood laced up as well. Okay, at this point we're going to start working on the sleeves. Now the sleeves are laced on with I-cords as well. However, for each sleeve you're going to need 2 I-cords. Again, I can't tell you how big you need your I-cords to be because it very much depends on how big your armhole is. So you're going to use the same kind of lace up template as you've done here. So lacing every 3 stitches, 3 holes. So work your way around there, measuring your I-cord as you go. Make sure that you can lace up all the way around the armhole, and make sure you've got 2 of them, because you need one that connects to the arm and one that connects to the shoulder, one that connects to the sleeve. So get 4 more I-cords made up at this point. And we're going to start working on the sleeve very soon after. So for the sleeve, we're not going to crochet directly onto this piece. I'm going to start a new piece in black, the same size as this, exactly the same size. I think I've got 15 holes on either side here. So again, I will do an armhole that is 15 holes up and 15 holes down, and that we're going to join it with the I-cords. But get your I-cords started and I will come back. I'm going to do mine and I will come back in just a second. It's going to be like 2 seconds for you guys, unless you're pausing your tutorial to make your I-cords. But I will come back once I've got my I-cords done and we'll start the sleeves together. So what I did for the sleeve was I started with a chain of 60 that I joined in the round. And then I worked standard mesh stitch every row for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. After that, I started decreasing every 4th row. So I do a decrease row, and then 2 rows of mesh stitch, and then a decrease row and 2 rows of mesh stitch. I will show you how to do the decreases. However, you don't necessarily have to make your sleeves the same shape as I did. Now, you will need to chain the same amount of stitches to start your sleeve. Hang on, let me get my cardigan piece. So this is how it fits on. So that is the shoulder piece, and this is where we're going to lace the sleeve on, like so. Okay. So it needs to fit in to this piece that we've created, this hole that you've created when you joined your front and your back piece. Okay, and then this piece is going to be laced on with 2 of the I-cords that we've made. Okay, but yeah, this is the first sleeve that I've made, and I'm going to sit with you and start the second sleeve just so I can show you the process. So I am using my 5.5mm hook. I'm going to start with a slip knot, and I'm going to create a chain of 60. So this is going to take a little bit of time. Bear with me. Well, I'll be right back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll be right back. So here we have a chain of 60, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we have our chain of 60. I am going to slip stitch into this very first chain. Right, I'm then going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip the next chain, and I'm going to double crochet into the one after that. And then for the rest of the row, I'm going to chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet. I'm going to get the rest of my row finished, and I'll be right back. So I have worked my way all the way around my chain, and at the other end here I have chained 1, and I'm going to slip stitch into the second chain from into the second chain, like so. We're then going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to double crochet into the double crochets from the previous row, and then chain 1, double crochet into the double crochet from the previous row. And I'm going to do that for the first 10 rows of this before I start decreasing stitches to shape my arm, shape my sleeve even. Now, again, hold on one second. So the shape of this sleeve, it decreases from the top as it goes down. However, you don't have to put any decreases in your sleeve. I'm going to show you a different sleeve that I created on a different cardigan. Well, the same cardigan, but different. So this is the other version. What I did with this one is that I worked straight down the arm until I got about sort of mid forearm, and then I started increasing stitches. So this one was just an increase of chains in between the mesh stitch as I created it. So that creates more of a bell sleeve. However, the sleeve that I'm working on is more tapered to the arm, and we start wider to accommodate the upper arm, and then it gets smaller as you go down. So this is this type of sleeve that I'm going to show you how to make, but you don't have to make this version of it. You can find other tutorials on YouTube that will show you how to increase and decrease in mesh stitch so that you're able to create the shape of the sleeve that you would like for yourself. So I am going to get the first 10 rows of my sleeve done, and then I will come back and show you how to start working the decreases. Okay, so I've got my first 10 rows of the mesh stitch complete, and I've worked my 11th row until I have 6 blocks open at the end, and this is where I'm going to show you the decrease. So I've worked a double crochet and then a chain, and this is how we decrease now. So we're going to double crochet 2 together, but we're going to skip this chain in the middle here. So we're going to double crochet into this first stitch and then pull through 2, and then we're going to wrap the hook again, double crochet into this next stitch. So we're going to skip the chain entirely, double crochet into that next stitch, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3 left on the loop. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do that again. So we're going to double crochet 2 together, skipping the chain in the middle. So go through 2 and then wrap your hook, go through into double crochet again, and then pull through all 3 left on the loop. Okay, we're then going to chain 1 and double crochet and chain 1 as normal. Okay, so what we have done here essentially is we have removed those 2 blocks there. Okay, so I've removed those 2 blocks. Okay, so I'm going to work the next row. I'm going to get myself around to the other end, and then I'll show you how we work over those stitches. Okay, I've worked back round to right before the decreases, and it really is straightforward to work into these. I mean, you don't change anything you do at all. You do a double crochet into the double crochet 2 together, we chain 1 in between them, another double crochet into the previous double crochet 2 together like that, and then we chain 1, double crochet into our double crochet, chain 1 and slip stitch into the second chain, like so. Okay, and there you can see that it has decreased. It will show more as you keep working. Now I am working I'm working a decrease every 3rd or 4th row as we go down the arm. I'm gonna do it every 3rd row as we go down the arm. And I'm just going to keep working until the sleeve is as long as I want it to be. So you'll need to do the same thing. Keep putting decreases in, and it just sorry, see my arm, it just tailors it to the width of your arm as you go down the arm. Now I stopped decreasing again mid forearm, and then just worked straight from there and worked the sleeve up until it was just at my knuckles. Again, that's personal preference. If you want a longer sleeve, add more rows. If you want a shorter sleeve, add fewer rows. But make sure you're working a decrease every 3rd row. I'm going to finish off this sleeve, and I will come back once I've got this sleeve done as well, and I will show you how to join it to your cardigan. So I have got to the very end of my sleeve now. It matches my first sleeve, as you can see. Let's put it that way. See? And now we're just going to work on the very edge of this sleeve here. To do that, I'm going to change over to a 5mm hook. And first thing I'm going to do is a row of single crochets all the way around with the black yarn. So I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet into the very first stitch, and then into the next stitch. So every chain stitch and every double crochet gets a single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way around. So I'm just going to finish this off. Won't take too long. I will be right back. So I have got to the very end. I haven't slip stitched into the first stitch just yet. I am going to cut off my black yarn and I'm going to replace it with the Dayglow yellow yarn. Here we go. So I am going to pop my hook into that first stitch and join the yellow yarn straight away and slip into that stitch there. And then I'm going to chain one. Okay, and we're now going to work crab stitch or reverse single crochet. So instead of working right to left, we're going to be working left to right. So we go in, instead of going into this stitch here, we're going to go into this stitch here. So we go into the stitch like so, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn again and pull it through both. Okay, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to be pulling the two ends along the back and I'm going to crochet those in as I go. Okay, so again, we're going to go into this stitch here. Sorry, make sure I'm crocheting those ends in, grab my yarn, pull it through, grab my yarn again and pull it through. And I'm going to continue to do that in every stitch along the row. Okay, so I'm going to get this done and I will come back once I've finished my row. So we finished off our sleeve with the little bit of crab stitch around the edge. I really do love crab stitch. I think it's such a beautiful way to finish a project. And we're now going to attach the sleeves to the cardigan. Now to do that, we are going to need the cardigan and two of the icords that we created per side. So the reason you need two is that we are lacing the sleeve on to the cardigan. So one side of the icord, one of the icords will join to the sleeve and the other will join to the cardigan, and these will lace together. So let's get set up and started with this. So the first thing we're going to do is thread the I-cord through the top of the sleeve. Now I have, you can see I've started on one of the sleeves already. I have threaded through every 3 holes. So let me show you here. We're going to start here, pull that out as far as we can, and then we're going to go 1, 2, and then in that third one we're going to thread it through again like so, and then 1, 2, and then third one we're going to thread that through again. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and continue to thread it through. So you don't have to do it every 3 holes. You can do it, you can make the threading closer together if you want. You can spread it out a little bit more if you want. It depends on how tight or how loose you want the lacing to be. Now you can see that I'm threading it quite tight. It's not going to be as tight as this when I'm done, because we're going to join the 2 ends of the I-cords in a moment, and then loosen the thread all the way around the outside, the top of the sleeve. 1, 2, 3, there we go. And then we're going to join it to the body of the cardigan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join my I-cords the same way we did with the I-cords for the hood and the sides of the cardigans. We're going to do the same thing there. And then once I've got those done, I will come back to you and we will join them with the lacing onto the cardigan. Okay, so I have joined the two ends of the I-cord now, and they are laced through the top of the sleeve. So we are now going to do the same thing with the I-cord for the shoulder piece, for the body piece. However, as we are lacing it through the body piece, we are also going to lace it into the sleeve. Sorry, there is my body piece. Okay, and this right here is where I am lacing these two pieces together. Okay, so I'm hoping that is on camera properly. There we go. Okay. Okay, so with regards to the sleeve, you can see that I've got it so that all of the decreases are at the bottom of the sleeve, so they will sit under the arm. Okay, and we're going to line up our pieces. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's perfect. So we are also going to do this 3 by 3. I'm going to start and now I need to go in through top to bottom. So I'm going to start at the very bottom hole on, I don't know if you can see that, sorry. I'm going to start at the very bottom hole, right above where we laced up for the body. So I'm going to start in there. I'm going to put my I-cord in, pull it through, and then that is going to lace into the sleeve. Okay, and then just like we did for the sleeve, we're going to count in 3. So 1, 2, and 3. That's going to go back in to the cardigan. Okay, and then it's going to lace through the lace for the sleeves. Okay, and again, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go in here. And this is how you attach your sleeves to your cardigan. It's all laced up like so. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this until I've got all the way around, and then again I'm going to join the I-cords just like I did for the sleeve section. So I'll be right back. So there you have it, your sleeve attached to the body. You can see, I'll put my hand in it, you can see the lacing a bit better. You can see that's how your lacing looks along the sleeve. It's attached really beautifully. And now we've just got to do this for the other side. So I'm going to get that done and I will be right back. Right, so we have our cardigan now and it's all put together. The sleeves are on, beautifully laced on. We've got the finishing touches on the sleeves. It's now time to thread away our ends and add the finishing touches to the rest of the garment. Now what we are going to do is we're going to start with a row of single, like we did at the end of the sleeves. We're going to do a row of single crochet in black all the way along the outside on the two front panels, the hood, and the bottom of the back panel as well. Is going to start with a row of single crochets all the way from where it's laced up in the corner here, all the way along the side, up the front, and then up and around the hood as well. So we're going to do a row of single crochet, and then again, like we did on the sleeve, we're going to finish it off with a row of crab stitch or reverse single crochet in the Dayglow yellow color. So here is our finished toxic waist cardigan. It is absolutely stunning. We've finished the finishing touches. We've threaded all the ends away, and now the last thing left to do is for me to put it on and show you guys what it looks like. So this is the finished toxic waist cardigan. There we go. You can see it's finished beautifully with that reverse single crochet all the way along the edges, along the back, and up to the hood as well. It's so much, this project is so much fun to make, and it works up really quickly as well. So yeah, if you find yourself making the toxic waist cardigan, please tag me in your projects. I would love to see what you make. It's OMG Crocheting Crafts on all platforms. Yeah, thank you for joining me for this one. I hope you guys have an amazing day and happy crocheting.